Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a medical world that is deeply complex and, honestly, widely misunderstood. We're basing this on the incredibly comprehensive book Disjointed. We're going to explore hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or hEDS, and hypermobility spectrum disorders, or HSD. We're going to trace this condition across an entire lifespan, literally from birth to the grave, to see how people with these conditions experience life fundamentally differently and how we can completely flip the script on their care. Now, I want you to just imagine for a second what it takes to simply start your day. For a teenage hEDS patient, it feels exactly like this quote. Waking up in the morning feels like waking up right into an immediate adrenaline rush, like all of your organs are sinking. I mean, just imagine the daily terror and the sheer physical exhaustion of having to fight gravity every single morning. For these patients, their autonomic nervous system is essentially stuck in a constant state of fight or flight. Just the simple act of getting out of bed, it's a monumental battle.
Okay, let's really dive into this. Because while those symptoms sound extreme, they aren't rare at all. They are the daily, invisible reality for up to 10 million Americans dealing with symptomatic hypermobility syndromes. Just think about that number for a second. 10 million people walking around looking perfectly healthy on the outside, while their bodies are essentially working double time just to hold themselves together. It's not a nightmare for them. It's just a Tuesday.
Section 1. Life with invisible illness, the daily reality of hEDS. So think about proprioception. That's your body's ability to know where it is in space. Imagine playing a VR game where there's literally no floor. You know a floor exists somewhere, but your brain just isn't getting the signal. When your loose joints fail to send the right signals to your brain, the amount of intense mental and physical energy it takes just to stand up, walk down a hallway, or even hold a pencil, it's absolutely staggering. It leads to this profound crushing fatigue. This is exactly how individuals with hEDS experience the physical world entirely differently than the rest of us. Section 2. The connective tissue source. More than just bendy joints. For decades, this condition was totally dismissed as someone just being double-jointed or having a neat party trick. But hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is actually a multi-systemic connective tissue disorder. It affects the literal glue that holds the entire human body together, your connective tissue. Doctors often use the Batten scale to assess joint hypermobility, basically scoring how far fingers, wrists, and knees can bend backward. But that joint laxity, the subluxations and the dislocations, that's really just the tip of the iceberg. It's the diagnostic marker, sure, but it is far from the whole story. Which brings us to a really crucial question. If this is just a joint problem, why on earth does it cause severe brain fog, intense digestive issues, and sleep that just doesn't refresh you? Well, the answer unlocks the whole mystery. Connective tissue is literally everywhere. It's in your blood vessels, your digestive tract, your skin, your organs. If the glue itself is faulty, the whole system is going to experience chaos.
Section 3. The comorbidity cascade, the domino effect of connective tissue. This systemic chaos creates what the book Disjointed calls the comorbidity cascade. And these aren't just random disconnected issues. A lax vascular system leads to dysautonomia, specifically POTS, where just standing up causes your heart rate to skyrocket. And because the body is stuck in this stressed fight or fright state, blood is actually pulled away from the gut, which causes severe gastrointestinal pain. Add in the immune system overreacting through mast cell activation syndrome, or MCAS, along with highly overlapping neurodivergent realities like ADHD, and you have this deeply interconnected, body-wide cascade. This multi-systemic reality is exactly why navigating everyday life, from childhood classrooms all the way to adult workplaces, is so incredibly difficult.
And we really have to talk about who this is affecting. The diagnosed hEDS population is heavily skewed, sitting at roughly a 3-to-1 ratio of females to males. You might be wondering, why? Well, hormones play a massive role here. Progesterone and estrogen naturally make ligaments more stretchy. So for females with hEDS, puberty and the natural menstrual cycle can cause a huge exacerbation of joint instability and autonomic symptoms. And unfortunately, this female predominance plays right into a long, tragic history of gender bias in our medical system.
Section 4. The misdiagnosis trap. A timeline of medical dismissal.
Because modern medicine is divided into these siloed specialties, a multisystemic failure happening all at once is incredibly difficult for doctors to process. Let's walk through this devastating, lifelong timeline, from birth to the grave. At age 8 or 9, symptoms might just be mild occasional joint pain. By 10, it's lower back pain that gets dismissed by orthopedists as just growing pains. Then by age 11, the autonomic cascade hits. The child can't get out of bed, they miss school, and the physical symptoms are completely ignored.
Their autonomic dysfunction mimics anxiety and panic disorders and is frequently mistaken for or mismanaged alongside ADHD. This leads to years of incorrect psychiatric treatments, while their physical body just deteriorates right into adulthood. Patients are repeatedly told things like, "It's just anxiety, you're faking it," or, my personal favorite, "But you look so healthy." Meanwhile, the actual medical reality is an autonomic nervous system in constant distress and central sensitization that literally amplifies pain signals so much that a gentle touch can feel like a stab wound. The medical gaslighting these patients endure severely damages their mental health. I mean, when your intense physical reality is constantly being denied by medical professionals, the emotional toll is just devastating.
Section 5. Compassion and Support. Changing the narrative for loved ones.
If you're a loved one, a friend, a teacher, or a healthcare provider watching this explainer, you actually have the power to change this narrative. You can actively help repair the damage caused by years of isolation and misdiagnosis. Let's break down these concrete steps from Dr. Sarah Seward's chapter in the book. Step 1 is simple but profound. Validate their reality. Believe them when they say they're in pain, even if they look totally fine. Step 2, build a health team. Don't let the patient carry the burden of managing multiple specialists all on their own. Step 3, redefine expectations. Symptoms change hourly, so eliminate the guilt surrounding canceled plans and prioritize rest. And finally, Step 4, shift to advocacy. Champion their care in doctors' offices and in schools. Be in their corner.
The sources in Disjointed make this beautiful, essential distinction here. Pain is the physical signal from the body. Suffering is the emotional response to that pain. Right now, there's no cure for the underlying genetic connective tissue defect of hEDS. We can't always cure the pain, but the immense suffering, the suffering caused by isolation, disbelief, misdiagnosis, and gaslighting, that is completely preventable. It's preventable if we simply change how we listen and support these individuals.
I want to leave you with this final thought to carry with you. We've explored the invisible reality, the cascade of comorbidities, and the lifelong journey of hypermobility syndromes. So the next time someone in your life says they're exhausted, dizzy, or in severe pain, but they look perfectly healthy on the outside, will you doubt them or will you listen? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep asking questions.